Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 43 years old, and he shares his story how he was able to have the last laugh 2+ years after dumping his ex-girlfriend. An ex-girlfriend who was cheating on him left and right on girls' nights, girls' weekends, all that, and finally he had enough. And you guys out there that have ever been cheated on or dumped and you realistically did everything right and yet still you got treated like that, you'll appreciate that because they always come back when things don't go well. And since they usually end things with you for a guy that's a low life, well, you can predict they ain't going to go well with the low life and they'll want you back because it's easy, it's convenient. Never do that. And again, you're going to see that this guy got roped in by the number one thing that most guys get roped in, the hoo-ha. Easy access to hoo-ha. Apparently his ex was very physically beautiful and was very accommodating in the bedroom, which is interesting given what happened. And he just couldn't say no. And you can't do that, guys. And oh yeah, by the way, take a wild guess, she was a, wait for it, single MOM. But our guy here made mistakes. He acknowledges that, he learns, and he's sharing the story. So he says here, hello SSM. I've been tuning in for a bit now, probably about 2.5 years at this point. Interesting, because it's been 2.5 years since you dumped your ex. Meaning, after you kept screwing up, then you found the channel and learned. Unfortunately, what brought me to your channel is the same that probably brings most men to the channel. It normally starts off with something like this. I thought everything was going great between us. I hope you get your smack hand ready. Because of my situation, I deserve a bunch of them, just being honest. Dude, yeah, you do. But at least you're admitting where you messed up. A lot of guys can't do that because their thick-headed male pride can't admit that they're wrong. I think your channel does a lot for people. Because not only does it give people the fact that they're not alone in the situation, it also gives other people the ability to see and learn things, unfortunately, from other people's mistakes, mine included. Well, in the summer of 2021, I met a woman who was absolutely beautiful and a single MOM. Smack! Well, obviously back then you didn't know the pitfalls of getting involved with them. Not that they're all like this, but a lot are. He says, yeah, imagine that. In the beginning, she seemed so fun and so awesome to be around. In other words, the bedroom action was so fun and so fun to be around. Little did I know that later on, that person that I thought I knew was not really that person. During the course of the relationship, I overlooked so many red flags that I knew were there, but I chose to turn a blind eye. Yeah, and we all know why. But most of us have done the same thing. I've overlooked red flags in my past because of obviously getting action and physical beauty, and it was a stupid mistake, and I learned the hard way. For the story, I'm going to refer to myself as Steve, and I'm going to refer to as Jolene, obviously not our real names. I met her through social media and her stopping into a place I worked at, and I was absolutely taken aback by her physical beauty, as it was astonishing. Smack! Dude, come on, this isn't fucking Helen of Troy. It's just a chick. There's a whole world full of them. I think what was going on is this is probably the best looking girl that ever paid attention to you, and therefore her beauty was astonishing, even if we can debate on whether that was accurate or not. She was the best looking thing that you ever got, and therefore, what happens, happens. Now others may not have seen her as such, however, my eyes, undeniable. Yep, she was the best looking girl that ever was into you. I'm convinced. And me feeling that way is part of the reason why I let the situation become what it was. Now, Jolene never disrespected me openly, nor did she ever act funny that I could tell. Until I saw the patterns and saw the signs, and in the end, I did eventually end it. However, if I had been true to myself, I would have been honest with myself. I could have saved myself a lot of pain and heartache in the end by just being honest and realizing the truth as it happened. Well, that's the problem, is you were way more into her than she was into you. She was obviously the best looking girl that paid attention to you. She took care of you in the bedroom at least for a while. So you didn't want to believe those other things. And you probably wanted to believe all the crap in the movies that usually is showed to guys. You're not alone, dude. Plenty of guys do this. Well, some people compartmentalize their lives, and some people live double lives, and you don't even realize it. Or better yet, you don't want to realize it. That's one of the aspects of this channel that is so relatable that we all played the fool. It's just part of life. However, it doesn't have to be so hard, and when you're watching for the signs. That's one of the things this channel is great for. It does talk about the uncomfortable signs, as well as the fact that they are commonplace in the society. Not saying all women are bad. I'm sure there are still some good ones out there, but we have to be honest with ourselves in the times that we're living in. Men as well, the actions you do actually define you as a person. Remember that. Well, after spending time with Jolene, we started getting closer, spent time out, and about enjoying each other's company. I moved in at what I thought was a moderate pace because I actually like the woman, and I don't want to wreck it by trying to be a Chad. Smack! You didn't want to wreck the relationship by being a Chad, yet these types, the ones they go for are the Chads. Obviously, you were the nice guy that she was building a future with or helping with the kids and all that, but we know she was having fun with. You think she was having fun with typical vanilla nice guys on the girls' trips? No, they were Chad and Tyrone. Well, this story has it all. Boundaries broken, girls' trips, all the things above, blah, 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 that have set in place prior to them happening and maybe would have had a different outcome. However, you can't turn back the clock, and that is how it went down. I'm going to give the condensed version. We dated for 2 years. During those 2 years, I met her kids a few times, but was not necessarily involved in their life due to her keeping her life compartmentalized. Well, in a way, I mean, that showed you something, that she wasn't looking to build anything major by not getting you that directly involved with the kids. On the other hand, you got to have, quote-unquote, fun with a mom and the bedroom activities with minimal dealing with the kids and the drama and the tantrums and all that shit. Or paying for them. But I would imagine you would have mentioned that if you did. I should have seen the signs and walked away then. Spending time with each other at each other's places and residences is one of those things that where it felt normal on the surface. But there was always that weirdness that I didn't want to admit to myself, or why her life was kept so secret. Her life was kept secret from you for a reason, dude. I put up with it, I overlooked it due to the fact that there was great physical chemistry. However, that physical chemistry led me to overlook the things I now know was stupid. Yes, and that's how she roped you in, and she knew it. There were some girls' trips. One of those girls' trips came with her having scuffed up knees, and she said she tripped over something. Yeah, Tyrone's dick. Scuffed up knees, come back from the girls' trip. How do you think that happened? We can all use our imagination there. Just didn't seem right. Something felt off. Another one of those trips, she asked that she and her friends were talking to these dudes outside a club. Again, something didn't feel right. Like it was a version of the truth, so her conscience could be clear. Well, that's called trickle truth, and guys almost always get a certain version of the truth. Deep in the pit of my stomach, I knew that I wanted to walk away then, that I was not enjoying this whole smoke show. Just seemed easier to stay and reap the benefits of what I thought was perhaps in my head, and I was still enjoying the physical aspects. Smack, 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 dude. I know you know this. What's the common thing here? The physical aspects. You telling me you couldn't get any nookie anywhere else? There were little things here and there over the course of those 2 years I 100% should have just walked away. Not found a reason to say, like, I liked her more than the other women. Well, as October 2023 came around, I grew tired of her having a reason why she was so busy that our time was getting shorter and shorter. Then it was something about her going out to an event with her friends, and I was purposely not invited. I was just tired of being justifying this type of crap. So notice in the beginning, a lot more time together, but over time, more and more girls' trips, more suspicious behavior, fewer times getting together. She's just keeping them around, you know. It's obvious. Then it was something about going to an event with her friends, and I was purposely not invited. I was tired of justifying this crap, and I decided to end it right then and there. Good, dude. It's about freaking time. I'm glad you're the one that ended it. Unfortunately, it was a rough phone conversation, but I was fed up with her. It was a shame because she seemed so cool when things were going good, and that's part of the trap, let's just be honest. Of course, we've all been there. In the beginning, in the courting stage, in the honeymoon stage, it's all cool and fun. You know, people can put on an act, but eventually their real character is going to come out eventually. It could be some people a month, some people 3 months, some people 6 months. Some people can put up for years. When I look back now, it doesn't seem so cool knowing that she was basically trying to keep me waiting as she went out to see if there was somebody better, or trying out a new guy. I may have been dumb, but eventually I was stupid and I acted, had my limits. Just a little side note here. During the summer of that year of 2023, I decided to put alcohol down for good. Going through a breakup with newfound sobriety was an odd learning experience for me. But I made it through, thankfully, and I'm glad to say that I'm still sober to this day. Well, that's great, man. Congratulations. I'm sure that was very difficult. Obviously, you had a big problem. I refuse to let it break me. He says, guys, do not turn to alcohol when going through a heavy heart situation. It is a terrible idea, and all it will do is leave you to make choices that are not the best for you. This has been discussed on your channel countless times, and the dude knows what he's talking about. I did the only thing I knew to do, and that was hit the gym. Good, man. Exercise. That's going to make you feel better. Guys, you don't necessarily have to join a gym if that's not your thing. Just get outside. Go for a walk. Go for a jog. If you like cycling, mountain biking, rock climbing, anything physical, good, other than lifting the bottle, then do that. But if you like the gym, or maybe you want to try it out, go for it, To me, there's nothing better than hearing the clanging of the iron in the gym and heaving the heavy weights. But I've been doing this since I was 13. I love it. She was not sitting there feeling bad or thinking about me or whatever other crap guys want to believe. She was hanging out with other people, doing her thing, living her so-called best life, with her girlfriends and who else knows. I says, SSM lesson number 1, pay attention to who your girls' friends are. It matters. Well, as she was out there doing Lord knows what with who knows what, I decided to hit the weights as it did help clear my head. Over time, I started doing other things, and the thoughts of her weren't so sharp. Good, you're moving on. Most guys will just wallow away and all that. You were pushing 40 years old or something like that. Maybe you were 40 at that point and thinking, where's my life going? I thought there was going to be a future. Glad you didn't do that. They did not go away entirely, but it was not so sharp. He says, guys, don't be down on yourself to actually have those feelings. Everybody experiences the sadness, upset thoughts, anger, all of the above. However, finding a constructive way to go through with it is the only way to go through it. Correct. Guys, it's not healthy to walk around bottled up with all those angers and emotions inside. And yes, you're going to have anger and emotions inside. Don't be a ticking time bomb. Let it out, and then you move on. But don't let her see it. I made some new friends. I got out of the house more. I did all the type of stuff to make sure that I kept things as far out of my mind as possible. There's no sense in dwelling on the stuff that you cannot change. Amen. That's a logical perspective, but a lot of people, the emotions will keep them dwelling on the crap of what could have been, what could have happened, what could I have done wrong. Don't waste your time. Even though your mind drifts to said things anyhow. Well, fast forward 2.5 years, yes, they always come back. See? Of course. You didn't mention, I know you mentioned earlier, but after the breakup 2.5 years ago, because you've been watching my channel 2.5 years, so at some point after the breakup, you found my channel. And obviously it's helped you. That's good. I hope for that day. I'd wished for those times to where I would see a message from her on social media or whatever. Then one day, there it was. And for about a month, she interacted with my social media pages. Okay, so she was liking and commenting on them, but obviously you weren't talking to her. And no direct messages. Yeah, she was interacting with your social media pages, hoping you'd see that, obviously, and you reach out to her so she could have still some leverage and power. Sounds like she wasn't directly texting you, DMing you, or calling you. That's what they do. They'll start by liking things. If that doesn't work, then they'll start commenting on things. If that doesn't work to get you chasing after them, then they'll start sending direct messages, and I'm sure many of you guys have experienced this. Well, a part of me felt that I had won, but the other part of me just felt bad. Hopefully nothing terrible had happened in her life. Smack! Who the fuck cares? She's a fucking slimy asshole. However, I had to give her the same gift that she gave me, which was silence. I want her to say that was similar to birds don't fly backwards, and I understood that. It had been very easy for me to have reached out and said, hey, or noticed that those interactions were happening. However, I could not go backwards direction. Yes, exactly. Your silence just caused her to keep chasing. Your silence drove her nuts. Because I'd already known what would happen, and I already known what version of that person she was. And it was not the sweet, loving person that I thought she was. She already showed me the things that I need to see. And for real, 2.5 years, that's a long time. Yes, 2.5 years is a long time. Probably the equivalent or longer than you were actually with her. But my point is, obviously things didn't work out the way she wanted to, and now she's back to you. And in her mind, even though you broke up with her, she could somehow weasel her way back in. That's exactly what she was doing. But it didn't work. So you've learned, amigo. You've redeemed yourself for some of your action. As much as you may think that you want a person to come back, do not allow them to come back. Do not allow yourself to move backwards to an outcome that you've already experienced. Do yourself a favor. If you find yourself in a situation of a breakup, do the things needed to improve yourself. Not because it's a ha-ha thing to the other person, but because it's an actual level up of yourself. Yes, it's fun to get revenge. Success is the best revenge. And it's great to do it, and you have the last laugh, ha ha ha, look at me. But do it for you, not to get even with the other person. With the countless stories on your channels, we learn anything from all those channels is that we do not go through these things alone. Other people go through this as well. And to try and learn from these things that you hear on these channels because they can help you in the long run. And it may feel like these things are absolutely terrible now. Time is a way of making sharp feelings fade. Yes, there's the saying, time heals all wounds. And I don't like that saying because time will not heal all wounds. But they will, some wounds they'll heal. But other ones will definitely make it bearable to live day to day. It may not seem like it will, but you don't want to be completely forget the feeling of heartbreak because these feelings will keep you safe the next time. Because like you, I will have lived and learned, gained some life experiences, and if you're honest with yourself, learn what you not to do next time. Yes, exactly, guys. You learn from your mistakes. You're crazy if you keep making the same mistake over and over again. For some context here, I'm now 43, who thought I had it figured out, yet still went through the same crap. Don't feel bad for having feelings, just make sure you're learning. He says, thanks again, SSM. Through a rough patch of my life, I look forward to hearing these stories. It made me feel not so alone. And even now, a few years later, I still watch these channels because I want to keep that stuff fresh in my head and never forget to not be a dumbass. Yeah, it's like anything, guys. If you spent years training in boxing or martial arts or playing golf every weekend, you'll get good at these things over time. But if you suddenly stop doing them, you're going to not be as good if you suddenly got back on the mat in a martial arts class or boxing class or whatever, or playing golf or tennis or whatever you like to do. So you got to periodically do that to keep yourself. It's the same thing with this material. You listen to these stories and keep it fresh in your head. By the way, I won't try to guess your name. For realistically, it could be anything. But we'll just call you Mr. Badass. Why don't you just call me Mr. Troy? So many people think my name is Troy. Might as well call me Troy. Thanks for all you do and all the people you've helped out. Thanks for reading the story, and if it makes it to any of the channels, I hope it can at least help one person the way this channel has helped me in a tough time. On behalf of so many, thank you. S. Well, you're welcome, man. I'm glad I helped you. And again, yeah, if this story can help one person, and I'm sure will help more than one person, it's worth me sitting here in this hot-ass fucking car in late Memorial Day weekend in Florida. And yeah, happy Memorial Day weekend to all you guys out there. So, bro, good job. I'm glad you didn't reach out there. I'm glad you improved, handled it in a constructive, healthy manner, and you get the last laugh knowing she reached out. But I wouldn't be surprised if she'll now try, since it didn't work so well before, she'll now try up the ante, if you will. Soon you'll be getting texts and phone calls, and her coincidentally showing up at some place that you foolishly mentioned on Facebook where we're going to be next Tuesday, and you'll be tested, but I think you'll be fine. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Catch you next time.